Hello and welcome to another episode of my Productivity Mastery series. My name is Pullein and today we're looking at the all-important weekly planning session. Now this is the one part of any productivity practice that you need to get consistent at. Yet this is the one part of the productivity practice that most people are not consistent at. We're very good probably at collecting tasks. We love organizing all these tasks. But when it comes to sitting down at the end of the week to do a weekly planning session, we just say, oh, I'm too tired. Oh, I don't have time. Now, the problem here is often that, particularly those of you who've read David Allen's Getting Things Done, is you will feel that the weekly review, as David Allen calls it, or the weekly planning session does take too long. And sure, in the days that I used to follow best practices of getting things done, I too would spend 2 hours on a Sunday just doing a weekly review. But the reality is, if you're not consistent at this planning session, everything is going to fall apart. It doesn't matter how beautiful you have your Notion set up. It doesn't matter how well organized you feel that your task manager is set up. What matters is that you'd have no idea about what your objectives or the results that you want from the following week are going to be. And that's the purpose of the weekly planning session. It's about getting clarity on what you want to get accomplished next week. Now, I realize that there are actually 3 different planning sessions that you can do. There is a light version, a basic version, and the full weekly planning session. Now, the light version is the one where you just clear your task manager's inbox, you go through the notes that you made this week and just organize them and look at the projects that are most on your mind. In total, this one is going to take you probably no more than, say, 20 to 30 minutes. And you don't want it to take much more than 20 to 30 minutes. But the idea here is there's no point in saying, oh, I'm not going to do the light, I have to do a full weekly planning session, and then you never do a weekly planning session, then it's pointless. So what I've figured out and what I've realized and have actually put into practice with many of my coaching clients is start with the light version. Open up your task manager, clear that inbox, make sure that your tasks are, for the tasks that you have decided need to be done next week, are still relevant and they have a date on them. And then you can ignore everything else because you've got yourself clear about what you want to get accomplished next week. Now, a quick word on this wording. What do I want to get accomplished next week? You need to find a word that actually juices you up. It gets you excited. Something that's going to give you that focus on what you want to get accomplished. Now, I tend to think in terms of objectives. What is my objective for next week? But you might prefer what is the results, or what are the results I want next week? Or it could be, what do I want to get done next week? But whatever it is, choose a word that's going to kind of light you up, get you excited a little bit, because that's going to get you in that right frame of mind to make the right decisions about where you're going to put your focus next week. Now, the basic weekly planning session, you're going to go into all your active projects. You're going to do the light version, so clearing your inbox, making sure that this week is set up so that the tasks that want to get done next week are dated and so they're ready for you. But the next one, which is the basic one, you need to go into your active projects, not the projects that are on hold or projects that might be many weeks or months down the road. Just your active projects, the projects that are current at the moment. Go through those project notes. Make sure you've got everything that needs to be done. You're aware of any deadlines that might be coming up next week. Just go through that and just make sure that you are on top of everything, ready so that when you start the week, you've still got that focus. You've got a real focus on what you want to get accomplished next week. And then, of course, I should point out, by the way, this basic one, Takes probably about 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes to actually do. And then we've got the full weekly planning session. Now the full one is where you are going to go through everything, and you're going to take your time and you're going to go through it slowly, and you go through every project that you've got coming up so you're aware, and you can add tasks that might just need to remind you that you need to look at something perhaps in a week or two's time. That one is probably going to take you an hour and a half. Now the thing is, when it comes to weekly planning, the very first one that you do, perhaps even the second one that you do, will take longer than normal because you've never done one before or you've been very inconsistent. So there's quite a lot of you for you to look at, and you're also having to think about what should I look at next. Fear not, if you get consistent with the weekly planning session, this whole process speeds up. Just to give you a benchmark figure, for me to do the absolute light version, that will take me about 15 minutes to do. I've been doing a weekly planning session pretty much every week now for the last 10 years. I can get really fast. I know exactly where I need to look. I'm not trying to think about anything. It's like done. The basic weekly planning session takes me about 30 minutes to do, and that's the one I prefer to do. I'm not that interested in projects that are not going to start until Q2, as in the case of when I'm recording now, we're in Q1. So in quarter two, that's from April, May and June. I'm not looking at those right now because we're just at the start of February. But when I get to around about March, toward the end of March, I will start looking at what my Q2 projects are and just seeing what needs to be done. I very rarely do the full weekly planning session because that one, I don't generally like to spend 2 hours planning because I think that's not a particularly good use of my time. You may differ on that, that's fine. But I do a full weekly planning session at the end of each quarter. I generally take the last week of the quarter off. I tend to go dark. I hide. I remember somebody calling it the tactical hiding. So I tend to go off the grid, and that's when I have more time to work on my bigger projects and also to do the full weekly review. And I will give myself 2 hours to do it then. But that happens 4 times a year, the end of every quarter. So the key here is to find a weekly planning session, either the light version, the basic version, or the full version, that fits with your schedule and something that you will get consistent at. If you only want to give yourself 30 minutes on the Saturday morning to do a planning session for the following week, that's great. You're doing a weekly planning session. But if you've said, I've got to do the full one, I've got to do the full one, and you're committing yourself to 2 hours at the end of every week, you are not going to be consistent, and then it's pointless. You may as well just not do it at all. And then what's the point? Because everything's going to start falling through the cracks eventually. If you want to get on top of your work, then you need to get consistent with planning the week. What do you want to get out of the following week? Even if you're on holiday, I would strongly recommend you do a weekly planning session. I love my holiday weekly planning sessions because it's like saying, relax, rest, and enjoy the week. That would be my objective. That's my weekly planning session done. So I beg you, if you really want to get yourself more productive, better with your time management, more organized, more focused, then make sure you develop a weekly planning session that is going to work for you. Don't copy somebody else's. Everybody else has a different life. They're probably doing a different kind of work. It's not right for you. You've got to find the right fit for you so that you're looking at the right things each week, the things that you want to look at, and try, particularly the one that you're doing every week, to keep it to no more than 30 to 40 minutes maximum. 30 minutes is sort of ideal. 40 minutes is kind of pushing it to the point where you think, nah, I'm not in the mood to do it this week. And then it falls apart. Find something that works for you. Once you get consistent at it, you can start adding elements. Now, one of the areas that I know a lot of people struggle with, for instance, is email. Perhaps that weekly planning session, at the end of it, you can tag on, I'm going to clear my inbox, which is great, but perhaps that's not what you want to be doing on a weekend, and that, again, is fine. So my advice to you, if you really want to get yourself to be better organized, more productive, and just a little bit more focused and better with your time, then get consistent with a weekly planning session. It will save you so much hassle and stress because you're focused on what you want to get accomplished that week. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode, and it just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Hello, thank you very much for watching my videos. Now I have something exciting to tell you about. Recently I have developed a brand new time management system. It's a system designed to manage your time in the 21st century. The world has changed a lot over the last 20 years. In fact, it's actually changed a lot this year. And what we need now is a system, a time management system that is very easy to use, easy to maintain, so that you can spend more of your time doing the work. And that's what the time sector system is all about. It's going to change your whole belief system about the way a time management system should work, because this focuses on when you are going to do the task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, or how urgent something is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. And that's what this system is built around, getting your work done, so you can spend more of your time doing the things that you want to do. I hope you join me in this course. The full details of the course are in the show notes below, so please join me, and thank you very much for watching this brief video.